Hello everybody. Sorry for being late. The technical problems are solved. My name is Thomas Gruber. I'm the Deputy Sports Director from Special Olympics Austria, and today I have the honorable task to be the chair of this parallel session about sports, health, well-being, and well-being education. So, now, the big question, how are these three fields connected? What is the link between them? And I would say, if you practice sports minimum with 160 minutes with a medium intensity per week, you will have a lot of health benefits, and of course, you will be fitter. That's not my opinion, that says the World Health Organization. So, if you are healthier, your well-being will increase. So in conclusion, sport, health, and well-being work hand in hand. And there's something more. There's an important correlation between these three domains. And of course, through sports, you will get a greater autonomy in life. That means more autonomy in everyday life, more autonomy during work, more autonomy in your leisure time, and of course, more autonomy, health, and well-being in old age. And fitness is the base for many inclusion moments. So now I'm going to show you one of these inclusion moments and present you my way to make the world a bit more inclusive. Therefore, I'm showing you an example in 5 steps, how inclusion through sports can happen. And the name of this example is Money. Money is the young man on the right side of this picture. So this one. Money is player in the Special Olympics football team from the traditional Austrian First League club SK Sturm Graz, called Special Blackies. This is the first of 5 steps, the implementation of trainings and competitions in regular sport clubs. The step 2 would be, Money take part in the training session with the Special Blackies and the women's team from SK Sturm Graz. With this kind of events, the awareness in the club about the Special Olympics team grows. So step 2 is to interact with other members of the club during training, competition, or other sport and social events. Now, step 5, unify sport. Money is playing in the 11-a-side unified football team from Special Olympics Austria. This team is built with unified pairs from whole Austria. They train regularly in regular intervals and participate in international tournaments, like the Austrian national football team. So unified means that athletes with and without disabilities are training and competing together in one team. So you need both sides to be a unified program. Step 4 on the way to the inclusion is athletes with disabilities participate at trainings and competition with an external support. So that's mean Money is training in a regular sport club, but he needs some external support to participate at the training sessions. He needs some support for the transfer to the training and sometimes some support during some exercises. So and now finally, step 5 is the inclusive sport offer. That means Money is a recognized team member of the traditional football team. He's a full member of the football team. He has his fixed seat in the locker room. He has his fixed number. He has the same rights and obligations like the other team members. And finally, he scored his first goal. And as you can see, they really were celebrated. So now, a short overview about the last slides. So, in my opinion, if inclusion really works, it's invisible. But before you can reach these conditions, you'll have to make the different steps of the process visible. So therefore, we create the inclusion step model from the integration to inclusive sport offers, and to show the different ways to create inclusive sport settings. The best thing, I think, about the example with Money is after this process is that he's much fitter, much healthier, and his well-being strongly increase. So as we can see, these 3 fields of sport, health, and well-being are perfectly linked. So, and now about the panel. We have 9 experts from 6 different countries who will share with us 6 innovative ideas about sport, health, and well-being education. Thanks for being here and give us the chance to learn about your work. Thanks for your attention, and now you really need your full attendance for your panel. It's an honor to give Rodrigo Mendes from Brazil the stage to talk about this topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thomas. You are hearing me? Okay, now it's better. So hello, everyone. Great pleasure to be here. I'm going to share one of our projects. Our institute is called Rodrigo Mendes Institute. We are a non-profit organization with the mission to guarantee that every person with a disability has access to quality education in mainstream schools. And our programs follow an architecture based on 3 pillars, which are research, teacher training, and advocacy. The project by itself is a teacher training program focused on reducing the exclusion of children and teenagers with disabilities through physical education. So it was born through a partnership between our institute, UNICEF, and the Barcelona Foundation, and it offers teacher training to educators, school principals, and public policymakers from all the states of Brazil. Talking about innovation, I think one of the most important innovations of the project is a complete resignification of physical education. As we know, physical education has been driven historically by competition and by athletic performance. So we approach physical education in a different way, no longer guided by competition, but guided by the commitment to allow that everyone can participate, develop, and have fun together. So each participant of this course need to create a kind of class that is based on those assumptions. And as a result, the school starts to construct a culture that sees human diversity as a value, as a very important factor that can change the future of their students. Sharing some of the impacts, so far we have impacted 50,000 teachers from the 27 states of Brazil, and the projects they created, the classes they created in their schools already impacted more than 7,000 students. And we see that the evidences show that through those transformations in the schools, the persons with disability improve significantly their learning and also their future perspectives. During one of my trips around Brazil, we normally visit all the cities that participate in the program. I, for example, met Maria. Maria was a 12-year-old girl. She was attending the 5th grade of a public school, and Maria had a relevant disorder and had never spoken to her friends. And because of this project, Maria's teachers invited her and her classmates to think together about an inclusive activity. And for everyone's surprise, for the first time Maria spoke. She gave her opinion and helped the group to invent a new kind of badminton. So what kind of ideas did they have? First, the length of the game was reduced so that the students with autism could keep their concentration. Second, the judge started using visual signs so that the deaf kids could understand what was happening. And third, the size of the square of the ward was redefined so that the students with physical limitations could have their mobilization facilitated. And this new badminton became the most popular activity in the school, and most important, Maria ended a painful silence that took many years of her life, and now she's interacting and talking to everyone. This project was considered one of the concrete social legacies of the Olympic Games in Brazil in 2018 and 2016. And I had the opportunity of carry the Olympic torch during its relay. So we had a very close relationship with all the organization of the games. And months after the ending ceremony of the games, I was invited to participate in a seminar in Japan, in Tokyo. The goal of this summit was to discuss how the next Olympic Games can improve their social legacy. So I will share a very short video about what happened in Japan before I finish my presentation.
What would you say Tokyo needs towards 2020 in changing the past norm?
What kind of message do we send to the world, separating things, segregating, based on the existence of a disability? So if I may, I would like to make some suggestions for Tokyo 2020. The act of putting out the fire of the Olympic pyre and then, weeks later, lighting this Paralympic pyre is very symbolic. So maybe Tokyo 2020 can use the same pyre, the same torch, and most important, keeping the flame lighted between both games.
This is an amazing idea.
Well, this proposal in Tokyo became a project called One Flame. I have been invited to present it in different parts of the world to large audiences. UNICEF, the World Economic Forum, and large companies are supporting it. So I take the opportunity here to invite all of you to be part of this dream, so we can talk later about it. And just finishing here, how the project is financed. We started with resources from the Barcelona Foundation, and now visioning the long-term sustainability, we created an endowment fund that is supported by the JP Morgan Bank, and part of the earnings of this fund will finance the future. Oh, hello, how are you? the future editions of the teacher training. So that's how we are thinking about sustainability. And just to end, we have defined two priorities in terms of next steps. First, we want to expand the teacher training to other countries of Latin America and to Europe. Therefore, we are going to translate the online version of the course to Spanish and English. And the second priority is to create an award for inclusive education best practices, and this will inspire, we believe, other professionals to promote inclusion and to transform their schools as well. So thank you very much, Thomas.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rodrigo, for your talk, for a really impressive talk. I think it's really important to start with sport as a child, and it was great to see how the children changed the rules so everybody can follow. That's great. Thank you very much for your work.
Okay, thank you.
And now, the next speakers will be Inbar Adler Ben Dor and Noah Galor Teperberg from Israel. And they will present us the Anytime program. This program is a place to bring the local community together. You can go over there. Okay.
So, hello everyone. My colleague Inbar Adler Ben Dor and I, Noah Galor Teperberg, are the directors of the Amitim program of the Israeli Association of Community Centers and the Israeli Ministry of Health. And today we would like to shortly present our program. We have a short video. So, yes, we would like to present a short video and then continue.
לפני שבאתי לתוכנית עמיתים, הייתי במצב מאוד מאוד קשה של אבל. המחלה הייתה במרכז החיים שלי.
לפני עמיתים הייתי בבית הרבה. לא כל כך פגשתי אנשים.
שום דבר לא עניין אותי. הכל היה צבוע במט. הכל היה משעמם. אנשים הפסיקו לעניין אותי. הייתי מסתגרת בתוך החדר. לא רוצה לצאת, לא רוצה להתראות עם אף אחד. הייתה תקופה קשה.
כשהגעתי לעמיתים התחלתי לעבוד עם הרכזת שלי על מיומנויות חברתיות וקשרים בין אישיים. ובשנה וחצי האחרונות אני בחוג יוגה, אני מצליחה להתמיד בזה וממש משמעותי ונותן לי הרבה. אני מרגישה שזה מאוד חשוב לי, כיום אני לא יכולה לראות את חיי בלי החוג ובלי הקשר אל הקהילה שאני חיה בה.
אחרי שהגעתי לעמיתים, התחלתי לפסל פה בחוג פיסול. אחרי זה הרחבתי את הפעילויות, התחלתי ללכת להצגות, והיום השבוע מלא וכל יום יש לי פעילות.
החוג התחיל בשעה 7. נכנסתי לחוג, כולי מפוחדת. במרכז של החדר היו קבוצה של בנות שקשקשו ודיברו, ולא הכרתי אף אחד. והיה לי המון חששות, ואני גם קודם דיברתי עם הרכזת שלי עליהם, שהאם אני אתאים לקבוצה, האם יקבלו אותי.
So, Amitim program was designed to promote the recovery of people coping with psychiatric disabilities through integration in leisure, social and volunteering activities meant to the general public. The program is operating in 87 community centers and includes about 3,500 participants from all sectors of the Israeli society, aged 18 to 65. In addition, we expose thousands of people to the issue of mental health through encounters with people coping with psychiatric disabilities, with the aim to change the stigma and shift views in the Israeli society. The Amitim program is exceptional in the field of rehabilitation in Israel and in general, and it offers recreational, cultural, educational, social, and volunteering activities within community centers. To enable a full integration of our participants in the community, the community center assigns a coordinator, a professional in the field of rehabilitation, whose role is to facilitate this integration. The coordinators are part of the community center staff, and they offer tailor-made guidance throughout the entire integration process, which includes mapping abilities and possible barriers for integration, and devising a personal rehabilitation plan aimed at fulfilling the participants' goals. These goals are then supported by monthly grant for taking part in the activities and classes that in the community center. We know that social and personal barriers prevent social inclusion, and therefore our Amitim program uniqueness is working in two levels, the human level goals and the community level goals. In the human level goals, we are increasing the feeling of significance and belonging to the community and promoting the sense of self-value. For example, Sarah, participant, she's 55 years old. She was very lonely and did not leave the house. She started bringing tea and biscuits to every session in her sport class. 1 week she didn't come to the class and was later told that she was missed by the group. Later on, in the conversation with the Amitim coordinator, Sarah realized that she had a role in the group and that she was significant to the other people. Another thing, it's creating a personal narrative based on multi-dimensional identity in which coping is only one component. For example, I do not only cope with manic depression, I'm also an artist or writer in a creative writing group. And one more thing, it's advancing and developing social skills by using recreational activities as practice space. For example, practicing small talk, self-presentation, conversational skills, and so on.
Okay. I would like to talk about the second level, which is working with the community, namely promoting the community tolerance, changing the existing stigma, and increasing knowledge about how to make the community more inclusive for this population. We achieve this by social connections, workshops, and events. And let me give you an example for work done in these two levels. Tom, a participant who is 25-year-old from the city of Haifa, wanted to take part in a religious lesson in the Reform Judaism Community Center, but he had difficulties fitting in as he spoke excessively and dominated every discussion. So the coordinator worked with the community's rabbi and explained to him that it gets worse when Tom gets anxious, and worked with him on appropriate response to Tom. At the same time, individual work was done with Tom in order to raise his awareness to the implication of his behavior and to give him tools for self-restraint and calming down during the lessons. This process opened the door to the integration of other participants in this community. The impact, okay, our program outcomes. To test the impact, in 2018, the Ministry of Health conducted an evaluation process. During this process, 746 of our participants were interviewed statewide. And we found out that most of our participants are very satisfied with the program. Many of them reported an increase in self-confidence and an improved emotional state. They're also reporting having more leisure and sport activities in their life, and a change in their social condition. The most significant one was meeting new friends. Another important finding was that the personal contact with the coordinator directly contributed to the participant's sense of recovery and community involvement and belonging. Finally, we found a positive correlation between the time period of participation in our program and the improvement in all the results I mentioned before. We conducted another important survey after our Changing Stigma workshops, and we found out in the general public that an increase in the level of willingness to connect with people with psychiatric disabilities. And the service providers reported a better understanding of how to adjust their services to this population. And finally, in a few words, in one minute, what next? In the next few years, we plan to expand our service nationwide while specializing in the different communities of the Israeli society. Secondly, we aim to continue to promote the involvement of participants and employees in decision-making in our organization. And finally, it's very important to us to invest in our professional development, all of these in order to maintain our position as a growing organization, developing according to the changes in the field and leading innovation in leisure, society, and education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So thank you, Noah and Inbar, for your talk. I really like that you try to give people with psychiatric disabilities the opportunity to be visible in the community. I think it's really important. Thank you for your work. So, and now the next speaker will be Reinhard Burtscher from Germany, and he will talk about a peer-to-peer health education from people with an intellectual disability.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Reinhard Burtscher. I'm Professor für Heilpädagogik in the meaning of inclusive education. And today I'm presenting you a project called Gesund. Gesund is a German term. Term means health. Nikola Schwersensky, a member of my team, is here, sitting here in front, and she has some publications about our work. If you want to have a book, something like that, you can order here one. Let me start. Our core team includes 4 academic researchers and 7 co-researchers with intellectual disability. So we are 11 people, 5 women, 6 men, working together to develop different workshops in health promotion. All co-researchers are from a local sheltered workshop, and we meet once a week at the university to work together in a 2-year program. The Gesund team develops health trainings, training material and explanatory videos in plain language for people with intellectual disabilities. Our co-researchers with intellectual disabilities perform the trainings. We test together, we evaluate and improve the trainings in an ongoing process. In our program, we combine health education and participatory research with people with intellectual disability at the university. And that, I guess, is almost unique, that we are doing it at the university together. It's all about health, but what does it mean? And what influences our health condition every day? We have a broad understanding of what influences the health and well-being. Our theoretical foundation for the health trainings is based on the Dahlgren and Whitehead model of health determinants. It's not only about my body or my good or bad lifestyle. It is also about relationships and social networking, about living and working conditions, and of course, of general environmental conditions. Now, I give you a short example of our first training course, which we developed together. The title of this first training course is What Strengthens My Heart? Of course, we want to provide new knowledge about the human body and heart, but also we discuss other topics which can reduce the risk of a heart disease. Therefore, we introduce health promotion themes like physical activity, stress, and even the importance of friends is an outstanding issue for our health. Here you see two co-researchers who are wearing an augmented reality t-shirt. Use this kind of t-shirt instead of a plastic heart model. It's much more fun to explain and demonstrate the organs of human being. Some of our quiz questions at the end of the workshop are, how big is your heart? How often does the heart beat every minute at rest and during physical activities? And there's an easy exercise to find an answer. Just climbing up and down stairs, and you can feel the difference. Now, let's talk about our experiences. We created an impact at least on 3 levels. One level is the individual level, the other is the organization level, the third one, the scientific community level. The personal development in between the core group is remarkable. All of us, including us, the academic researchers, increase the awareness in different health subjects. On the organizational level, we have done important steps forward to an inclusive education at our university. For example, since September 2019, we are part of a European project on post-secondary education with people with intellectual disability at the university. And disability organizations look very close on how we work in this participatory health approach project. Finally, last but not least, the scientific community is interested in our work. It is still uncommon that persons with ID are taking over the role as co-researchers. There are several success factors. We think that the whole is more than the sum of its parts. By now, we cannot figure out which factors are most important, but we think the focus on continuous and good relationship with the co-researchers is a key issue. Also, the connection with the local key players. We have started a step-by-step working process, beginning with trainings first in the sheltered workshop, to one small training at the university, up to now a 2-year program at present at the university. Besides that, we have continuous public relation activities. For example, we have published a practical handbook and other publications. A lot of videos are online. Not to mention, one other success is the participatory approach in our project. The results we produce are meaningful for the co-researchers and participants in the training. Our strategy is to develop a health education program slowly, step by step, At present, we consider our program as a pilot program. And with our program, we want to stay close to established policies and practice in Germany that would allow us to use the regular welfare benefits. So our strategy is to get into a sustainable financial structure is, first of all, we try to fit somehow into the existing welfare system. We want to use the money which is already in the welfare system. And that's in German quite a lot of money. Secondly, we promote new forms of inclusive post-secondary education at the university, and our goal is a regular and an inclusive post-secondary education program for people with ID on the long run. Until this stage is reached, we look for a bridge financing for the next 3 years. So you see, there are some critical points, but we hope and we are quite sure we are on a good run. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Reinhard, for your presentation. It was really interesting to see your great learning materials, and I think I have to check them for my own work. I have to talk after that. Thank you. So the next speakers will be my Zein Dein and Alhassan Sedky from Egypt, and they will present us the rise of the adaptive sports in Egypt. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay. We are just coming here from Egypt to give you a practical example about the sports education and the well-being and living a quite normal life. So, 2011, my son, who is just sitting right here, had an accident, a car accident, and he became on wheels. Right now, this son is a graduate from the University of Arlington with dual master's degree and playing sports in the national team of Egypt, and he is the only Egyptian and Arab playing wheelchair basketball in the US. So what we are here now for is that we are doing this. We are repeating his example with our foundation members, with 5,000 young people who are playing sports, one among 8 projects that we have in Egypt, okay? And I'll leave the speech to him because I think he can present this much better than me. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alhassan Sedky. I'm from Cairo, Egypt. Okay, we already talked about our foundation. I'm going to talk a little bit about sports. So we believe as foundation that sports can change your life. It can completely send you from one place to another. And like my mom said, I'm a living example of this. So the rise of adaptive sports, one thing that we focus on very much in our foundation through our sports and arts projects. To focus on this, we found out that we need to break it down into 3 major factors in order to help athletes perform. First of all, they have to have accessible facilities and equipment, which might be a given in a lot of developed countries, but it's not in developing countries. Just like you wouldn't ask a pole vaulter to jump without his pole, so you have to provide this equipment for differently abled athletes to be able to perform. The second thing is professional coaching and mentorship, so coaches that know how to deal with disabilities, that know how to bring out the most in their athletes, and not just coaches that teach another sport and are coming to work with disabled athletes as kind of a volunteer basis. And most importantly, I think mentorship. So role models that these young athletes can look at and aspire to be like people like them, and not just look at an able-bodied athlete and be like, oh yeah, I want to be like him, but someone that they can relate to. Finally, grassroots programs, so young athletes, people that are going to keep coming and provide us with a sustainable flow of athletes, a sustainable pipeline of athletes. But this is what we need to do in terms of sports. What does sports lead to? So for someone who's a young kid that is going to be included in sports, instead of being someone that he or she would have stayed at home, not done anything, and and not moved, not being included in the society, they're probably going to go out. They're probably going to get more inclusion, right? This is the goal. This is the ultimate goal. So once they start getting out of their house, once they start interacting with other people, I think this dramatically increases their chances to get a better education or get a job if they're a little bit older, just get involved in the community and overall being an active member in the society instead of being someone that needs help from everybody else. Okay, so what we're working on is trying to create those adaptive programs for young people, for the youth in general. And I've been living in the US for the last 5 years, and I looked at how they integrate sports into education, and I think this is an extremely successful model. And we're trying to replicate this back in Egypt, where we can work hopefully with some higher education facilities to where they can incorporate people with disabilities that play sports into their academic programs. And I think this improves, this ends up leading to a lot of social awareness, and it promotes awareness for people with disabilities everywhere. Finally, this ends up giving us a new generation of athletes that hopefully can lead our disabled athletes to perform at the highest level. Okay, so these are what we're trying to aspire, what our goals. What have we done up until now? This is our impact in the last 4 years. This program, our Sports and Arts program, started in 2016. We started with 35 athletes. Today we have 148 athletes over the course of 4 years. These 148 athletes, they vary in their age from age 10 to 62 years old. So we cover all the age range. They have won 296 domestic medals in 6 different sports. These people did not do anything before those 4 years. They were usually staying at home. You can see the breakdown of the medals at the bottom right. And here are some success stories that we have. The first person is Melek Hussein. She is right now the youngest para-athlete in Egyptian Paralympic swimming history. She has qualified for Tokyo 2020, which I think is amazing. She's the African record holder in London 2019 World Championships. She won a silver medal in the Junior Ireland World Championships. Again, she probably wouldn't have done any of this without sports. She got to travel the world, got to experience all kinds of different cultures and perform at the highest level. The second person is me, and I know this sounds a little narcissistic, but I had an accident 8 years ago, and I was lucky enough to find the game of wheelchair basketball. Without wheelchair basketball, I would not be here talking to you today. It gave me the opportunity to study abroad and earn my dual master's degree. Right now, I get the opportunity to represent my country in the African Paralympic qualifiers. Let's hope I can join Melek in Tokyo. And I'm trying to give back, like my mom said. I'm trying to create other people like me and change their lives, because I don't know where I would have been today without wheelchair basketball, and I don't want other people to miss out on an opportunity like this. Okay, so what are financial and sustainability plans to keep this program going? So we run off of different types of donations, individual donations from people, partners, so international federations, companies, banks, sponsors, and then finally crowdfunding. how do we sustain this? This is our most important thing. We build capacities. We invest in people. And this is the biggest thing we care about, because today you teach someone, tomorrow they're going to teach someone else. Oh, sorry. And we're trying to give some training workshops to classifiers, referees, so they can, again, come back and help teach other people in Egypt, and support from our federations and corporate partners. What are the challenges? There are no coaches or official referees in Egypt, so this is something we're trying to address through our workshops. Again, the lack of facilities, we're trying to work as much as we can with that. Lack of awareness, I think we're doing a pretty good job in promoting awareness right now for differently abled athletes. And, all right, I'm running low on time, so I'm just gonna try to. We have a short, medium, and long-term plan. Where we won't have enough time to discuss that, but I'm going to return the mic to my mom so she can tell you a little bit more.
I just want to tell you something to conclude this. We just gave you 2 examples. And maybe we said that we have only throughout the 4 years 140 athletes. But let me tell you that, like Alhassan said, we invest in people. Out of those 140 athletes, who never came out of the house before and they didn't want to do anything. We have 10 of the foundation members representing Egypt in Tokyo 2020 Paralympics. And this is... Okay, those people who are representing Egypt were literally, before that, doing nothing. So this is to include or conclude the very long story short. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, May. Thank you, Alhassan, for your presentation, and congratulations to a fabulous increase of participants, and I wish you all the best to reach your goals. Thank you. So the next speaker will be Thorsten Gegenwarth from Austria, and he will talk about the possibilities that sports creates space for inclusion.
Yeah, hello from the podium. My name is Thorsten. I represent today an initiative called Dabei. It's basically about sport that creates space for inclusion. We as a project, we as an organization, we have a very clear vision for us. Sport and culture, or in a whole aspect, lifelong learning provides the possibility to emphasize the thematic. Our project, especially Dabei, is designed that no matter what need or disability someone has, every person can participate and take part in a person-centered approach. So for us, sport in this case, we use it as a social inclusion tool. And what we do, I brought a short film. Austria is a winter sport nation, still a winter sport nation, although winter in these times doesn't feel like being winter. So quick film about what we do.
Kinder und Jugendlichen freuen sich auch, dass sie Skibobs ausprobieren können, Monoskis ausprobieren können. Und über diese adaptierten Skigeräte sind auch die Kinder mit Handicap genauso gut unterwegs wie jeder auf Skiern oder Snowboard.
Sei dabei.
1, 2, 3, sei dabei.
1, 2, 3, sei dabei.
1, 2, 3, sei
dabei! Okay, what is the essence of the project? we think teaching positive values and life skills, improving health and well-being, we want to emphasize individual development, and to us, most important, social integration, and so to say, for us all, develop social capital for the society as a whole. How do we do it? We as an organization, we as an initiative, think that, so we try to enable, we try to encourage those who work with people with special need or handicap, that it comes, so to say, in their day-to-day life possible, that all of those who want can experience sport alongside her friends, classmates, or family members. A really important aspect to us is train the trainer, so giving the information to the experts in the field, to all of those who work in schools and other organizations. So what is innovative for us in this area? Sport works to improve the inclusion and well-being of persons with special needs and disabilities in two ways, in our opinion. On one hand, it's by changing what communities think and feel about persons with disabilities, and on the other hand, that those who are in action start to think and feel different about themselves. In basic, the benefits of physical activity are universal for all children or all people. It doesn't include or exclude anyone. The participating of children with disabilities in sport and recreation activities promotes inclusion, minimize deconditions, optimize physical functions, and emphasize overall well-being. What is the impact we try to create? Sport offers the chance to participate and to be recognized by society. It reduces structural and social inequalities and enhances positive and personal development. So our strategy is to empower people through sport, and on the long run, that people can actively participate in society as a whole. Particularly for those who are younger, sport could be an important socialization motor. As an initiative, we have two main focuses. One is the sporting outcomes. So our programs have a really clearly defined, very straightforward set of sporting outcomes. For example, develop sporting skills, but also to enhance or to force, in a way, establish links between schools, clubs, and the wider community. The other focus is non-sporting outcomes. In our vision, sport programs have the opportunity to develop social and organizational skills, also when it comes, for example, to employability. And for this we have a really clear set of activities. What to us are critical success factors? First of all, access. We think that we all have to work that it's easier to access facilities, public transportation, but also other issues like language issues. A second big field we work on is the attitude. It starts with the policy or the policy makers, but also when it comes to schools or other organizations to really enhance the awareness of what we do. Choice. Lack of choice is often given as a reason for non-participation. We really try to enhance the possibility of choice. For this, we emphasize a lot about communication. Let people know. Communication to us is very key for to provide or to enhance inclusion. As I already said, policy making, getting the policies right is essential when aiming to move towards a more inclusive society or framework as a whole. To us, essential is partnerships. We don't want to do it all on our own. We think bringing those together, working in the field, is really key for an overall success. What barriers could we identify? I mean, it should be very clear, sport and physical activity programs cannot be seen as an overall solution covering all exclusion factors. There is, this is unfortunate, a lack of inclusion in accessible programs, and one big factor is also there's inadequate access to public spaces and facilities. So what are our clear defined next steps? We think we want to develop a framework for social inclusion programs. That, to us, works in two ways: integrate sport into existing programs, but also, on the other way around, integrate other programs into sports initiatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thorsten. I really like you how you share your knowledge. That's great. The next speaker will be Lindsay Harris from the United States, and she is going to talk about indoor hydroponic vertical farming.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Also joining me today is Piper Phillips. She's our president and CEO, and I acknowledge her because she really provided the visionary leadership to get this program up and running and off the ground. So 3 years ago, we started a farm-to-table career and technical education program primarily to teach employability skills and to engage our youth in school. But in those 3 years since, we have learned the impact has been much more and so much on health and wellness. So Phillips is located in Washington, D.C. It's a metropolitan area, a variety of socioeconomic levels. We work with high school youth that have complicated profiles, usually more than one disability. They have experienced a lot of failure and are facing multiple barriers to employment. So what in the world is an indoor hydroponic vertical farm? So unlike a traditional farm that's based on land, uses a lot of water and is weather dependent, our farm is indoors in a school building in a controlled environment. It does use water that's recycled because the systems are vertical, and it uses about at least 70% less water than traditional farming. No pesticides, no herbicides whatsoever. So right here you'll see at the top are two young ladies planting seeds. They're growing, you can see in the top middle, microgreens. Microgreens are about this big. They grow in 10 days, perfect for high school youth. And they're packed full of flavor and nutrition, about 40% more nutrition than regular greens. On the right is a lot of pea shoots. We were serving an event for a Hilton hotel in the area. And the bottom is our lettuce where our students were growing, serving, and packaging. And yes, we have lettuce days at our high school. Our youth really enjoy the lettuce. So we also do more than just grow food. They use it across the hall in our commercial kitchen in the culinary arts program. One of the favorite activities that the youth do is they make personal pan pizzas. They walk across the hall, they go into the farm, and they figure out what microgreens they want to enhance their personal pizza with. They also have their own business. They've called it Snip, Snap, Saute. They serve lunches in-house as well as to the community with the fresh produce. We sell to local restaurants, and yes, those are flowers, and they're edible flowers. They're very tasty and make food look very beautiful. And our students also have some internships in some local farms in this city. But the activity I like the best is our open house, because it's when our youth are leading the tours and really educating others about food and about health and wellness that's been very exciting. So our farm-to-table food sustainability program, our youth didn't know anything about food except for whether they liked it or didn't like it. Now they really know where it's grown, they look for where it's come from, how did it get there, did it come from a long way away, did it come from someplace local, and what is the health and wellness factor of that particular food. We've had several health and wellness fairs. That's one of our young ladies. She's talking about wheatgrass. We make wheatgrass smoothies. It's green, and when our students and staff first saw it, they went, oh, yuck, I'm not trying this stuff. But now they know it's really tasty. When the word gets around that we're harvesting wheatgrass, there's a buzz around the school, and everybody partakes in our wheatgrass smoothies. The next is our staff. In addition to our students taking recipes and produce home to their families, our staff have access to that. They're enjoying the fresh produce. And then the last side is our entrepreneurial skills. We were serving sandwiches for a local event. Our students offered a taste test to the woman who was ordering the sandwiches so she could decide what to order, but they were talking about what greens they put on their sandwiches to make them extra tasty and healthy. So we started with our impact on youth and employers, but the impact really has been on the community and families and on the health and wellness. So our outcomes, we've used a logic model as our tool to guide our way, because with this kind of endeavor, we've had a lot of curriculum ideas, we had a lot of different activities we could do, but we really wanted to stay focused. We wanted to understand what worked and what didn't work, and so I've really used our qualitative and quantitative data to get some impact. Oops, I must have turned it off. Let me go back. So we started, the picture on the top left is our one system in a science classroom. That's what we started with. And once we saw the impact on the youth, we said we have to do this more. This is where Piper came in. We really had to engage in a capital campaign fundraising because we were renovating parts of the school to include the farm and then our commercial kitchen. The hardest part was trying to tell people, yes, we're going to have an indoor hydroponic vertical farm. What? So once they understood what that was, once the youth really explained to them what it was and the benefits, and they saw the excitement, it was really quite easy to raise the funds. On the right is a young man with the lettuce, and at the bottom, that's actually a young man in the kitchen making wheatgrass smoothies. There are two main lessons. One is to jump in. 4 years ago, I had no clue that you could grow produce indoors and quickly year-round. So we went into new territory. The other most important factor was the youth voice. Our youth have guided us along the way on what to do. Right now, they've been advocating for a Feed the Homeless component, so we will do that in the spring. They want to make sure that everybody has access to healthy food. And then we want to build on the success of this and start a whole new endeavor. Lots of youth are exiting high school and having trouble finding employment. So we're hoping to launch a social enterprise that will hire those with disabilities that have exited high school. Once it is up and running with our financial business plan being successful, we have local restaurants, we have some local distributors. We want to transition to an employee ownership model, because through employee ownership, the workers there have more than just their paycheck. They have a valued voice in the operation of the company, and then they have increased financial stability and economic stability as they have an employee ownership opportunities. So that's our indoor hydroponic vertical farm.
Thank you, Lindsay, for showing us the indoor farming project. And good luck for your enterprise.
Thank you.
So now the talks are over. A big thanks to the panel. It was really informative. We are out of time, but we have time for some questions. So somebody from the audience has some questions to the panel. Use it. There are some questions.
My question's for the Alhassan Foundation. I'm just wondering, are you guys operating in Egypt as well as the US or just one country?
No, we're only operating in Egypt. We're just trying to replicate the model that already exists in the US, in Egypt.
Egypt is good enough, I think.
It's tough enough over there.
It's difficult enough.
Thank you. Some more questions? Maybe you can take the mic.
My question is actually for you, Thomas. I was wondering, the model, the 5-step model, where the 5 steps were derived from, how you came to them, if it was like done empirically or whether it was more top-down, and if you ever compared it to any other models of that.
Okay, we create this model to, how to say, I work for Special Olympics, and we had a program that called Move On to Inclusion, and the goal of this program is to connect people with an intellectual disability and some sport clubs. And as we start to talk with coaches, and we are talking about inclusive sport settings, they had no idea how that can be looked. And so we create this model. And it's, how to say, it's not a strict model to have, you make step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. It's more to show the opportunities how inclusion can work.
Thank you. My name is Rodrigo from the University of Vienna, and I'm just retired from the Sports Institute. So I'm very much involved in adaptive perspective, inclusion, inclusive physical education, etc. And I would like just to make the announcement or a hint to a website called Inclusion Club, which comes from Australia, and where you can find really good videos and adapted sports activities as examples, and also for trainings and teachers to see and to contact. Just a small hint.
Perfect, thank you, Maria. So, there's one question.
Hi,
Need a
thank
mic
you.
or? Perfect.
Hi, yeah, I have a mic, thanks. Hi, my name's Catherine, and I work with the Global Disability Innovation Hub. It's just a question for, I work with the Global Disability Innovation Hub. It's a question for Alhassan and his mum. Have you seen a reduction in community stigma throughout your program, and what the response has been to some of the participants within your programs? The reason I'm asking is because we run a £2 million project with UK aid, and one of our projects is on the Paralympics, and we'll be screening the Paralympics across Africa for the first time this year. And part of that is working in schools and trying to develop athlete development pathways. So I'm really curious about whether communities had a response to some of your participants and whether you've really seen change at that level. Thanks.
I think in general, when communities see the athletes, they're very welcoming of them. At the beginning, they're actually very shocked of the situation because, again, the lack of awareness. They've never seen this before. But no, I don't think there's a lot of, I mean, the challenge isn't that people will accept the athletes. Quite the contrary, I think they accept them very quickly, and they're very encouraging of them. It's just that they don't know anything about these sports. They don't know that these sports even exist. I don't know if this answers your question or not.
Perfect, thank you. So we have time for one more question. Okay, in front.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Fantastic panel. My question really is about community-based sports, and maybe it builds on that suggestion. So most kids and adults do a lot of their physical activity in local running groups, local soccer clubs, things that are outside of schools and just in their community. It's fantastic, the idea to have experts, but most of these don't have experts. So what I'd love to hear is the suggestion for making these truly inclusive of all schools, since they're such a large location for physical activity and sports.
I think it can be done without the professional or expert coaches. But in our specific situation, I mean, what we have is not expert coaches, but what we're trying to address is the lack of expert coaches or professional coaches. I'm not saying that other people can coach, but we don't have any coaches. So we're trying to just build that into our community, and then people can have the choice which way to go. But right now, like a bunch of people discussed before, there's a lack of choice. They're going to unprofessional coaches not because they want to, but it's because the only thing that's available. I think eventually it's something that we can address a little bit more.
Thank you. So I have to say thank you very much. It was really interesting for me. I hope for you too. Please use the chance to talk to the experts after we leave the panel. Yeah, thank you very much.